the galaxy did not see it coming. At first, the skies of Nova Terra shone with calm light. It was the jewel of humanity's colonies, a world full of oceans and towers that touched the clouds. Families walked the streets, traders filled the ports, and human banners fluttered above the capital spires. For years, Nova Terra had been called the Second Earth. But on that night, the sky itself turned red. It began with shadows, dozens of alien warships sliding out of hyperspace. They came without warning, without message, without mercy. Their hulls were black as night, their weapons glowing with cold blue fire. The people of Nova Terra had no time to prepare. The colony's defense fleet, a handful of patrol ships, scrambled desperately. They launched into orbit, engines burning bright, but they were like insects facing a storm. The alien fleet opened fire in silence. Blue beams cut through human ships like paper. Explosions lit up the heavens. Thousands died before the alarm even reached the ground. On the surface, panic spread. Sirens wailed across the cities. Families ran into shelters. The governor of Nova Terra stood in the command center, demanding answers from the Galactic Council. But no help came. No reinforcements. No warning. The Council had already fallen silent. Above the planet, the aliens descended lower. Their weapons turned not just on ships but on the cities themselves. Energy blasts rained from orbit, tearing skyscrapers into rubble. Oceans boiled where the beams struck. Entire districts vanished in seconds. The people screamed. The skies thundered. Still, humanity resisted. Colonial soldiers fought in the streets, firing rifles at machines 10 times their size. Fighters roared into the skies, only to be torn apart in flashes of light. Civilians huddled in bunkers, whispering prayers to a silent Earth. Mothers shielded children. Fathers took up weapons they had never fired before. But resistance meant nothing. The aliens moved with ruthless precision. They left no survivors, no escape ships, no mercy. Every human who stood against them fell. In the command bunker, the governor made one final decision. If Nova Terra was to die, its voice would not be silenced. He ordered a message sent to Earth, encrypted through deep channels, knowing it might not arrive before the aliens found them. The governor's voice was calm, though his eyes were heavy with sorrow. "We are lost. They came for us in the night. No help from the Council. No chance to survive. To Earth, to our brothers and sisters, do not forgive them." Seconds later, the command bunker was obliterated. The transmission fled through the stars. It was the last breath of Nova Terra. News spread quickly. Across the galaxy, watchers trembled. Other species tuned into scattered feeds, seeing flashes of burning cities and screams of dying humans. Whispers rose in dark corners. The massacre has begun. The Galactic Council, the so-called guardians of peace, sat in silence. Their chambers were filled with nervous faces, but no one spoke of intervention. No one raised a fleet to help. Some feared the aliens. Others simply did not care. The massacre was not theirs, they told themselves. It was only humans. But Earth did not stay silent. When the transmission reached Sol, humanity's leaders gathered. They sat around a table deep beneath the Earth's surface, in a room shielded from all outside signals. The faces were grim, the air heavy. The message replayed on a dim screen, again and again. Do not forgive them. No one spoke for a long time. Generals clenched their fists. Scientists whispered about old weapons locked away. Politicians argued in low voices. Could they fight an enemy so ruthless? Could they survive if the aliens turned next toward Earth itself? The choice before them was clear. Submission or vengeance. If they submitted, perhaps humanity might live, broken but alive under alien rule. If they chose vengeance, they risked everything. Another massacre, maybe the end of Earth itself. And yet, in every heart, anger burned hotter than fear. The people of Nova Terra were gone. But their last words still echoed in the minds of every leader, every soldier, every citizen. Do not forgive them. That night, Earth changed. No one knew what humanity would do. No one knew what kind of weapons Earth had hidden, or what kind of fury would soon be unleashed. But one thing was certain, humanity would not bow. The massacre that shook the stars had lit a fire that could never be put out. And soon, the galaxy would discover the truth. Earth had only one message left to give. No more mercy. The galaxy waited. After the massacre of Nova Terra, all eyes turned to Earth. Would humanity scream for peace? Would they beg for mercy? Or would they remain broken, too afraid to speak? 4 days, Earth said nothing. News channels replayed the last desperate message from Nova Terra. Do not forgive them. Other species mocked in private. To them, humanity was finished. They had lost their greatest colony, their shining jewel, in a single night. No empire could recover from such a blow. Alien fleets celebrated in their war halls. They drank victory and told their soldiers, the humans are weak. The humans will kneel. But then came silence. Earth cut off transmissions. No speeches. No promises. No cries for revenge. The Sol system grew quiet, its borders sealed. Spies sent to watch humanity returned with nothing, only rumors of unusual fleet movement near Mars, and strange energy readings from the moon. The galaxy began to whisper, perhaps humanity is too broken to reply. And then, on the 13th night after the fall of Nova Terra, every channel in every system lit up at once. It was not the Galactic Council who spoke. It was not the aliens who brought war. It was Earth. The message began with silence. Then, the screen showed the ruins of Nova Terra. Cities burned. Skies were black with smoke. A child's doll lay in the ashes. Then came the voice, not a single leader, not a general, but the voice of Earth itself, spoken through one united broadcast. To the stars. To those who watched as our brothers and sisters burned. To those who brought the massacre upon us. Hear this message. We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will not kneel. From this day forward, humanity has only one answer. No more mercy. The words echoed through space. Worlds froze as they heard them. Fleets paused in their flight. Entire councils sat in stunned silence. The broadcast continued. You thought us weak. You thought us broken. You thought we would hide behind your laws, your treaties, your council. But you forget, Earth remembers its wars. Earth remembers the weapons it swore never to use again. You brought death to our children. We bring war to yours. No more mercy. The screen went black. Across the galaxy, the reaction was instant. Some laughed nervously. Empty words, they said. The humans have no fleets strong enough to stand against us. Others shivered, remembering rumors, half-forgotten tales whispered about old wars on Earth, of weapons too terrible to be spoken aloud. And then came the panic. Spies reported that Earth's shipyards had gone dark, not silent, but active. Something was happening in the asteroid belts. Cargo routes were sealed. Civilians were moved from outer colonies back toward the inner worlds. More disturbing still, signals deep under Earth's oceans began to stir. Signals that had not been active for centuries. The galaxy demanded answers. The Galactic Council summoned humanity's representatives, but no one came. Their seats in the council chamber remained empty. For the first time in history, humanity ignored the call of the stars. Silence from Earth. But silence did not mean weakness. Silence meant preparation. In the war halls of the alien invaders, fear slowly began to spread. Their leaders mocked Earth publicly, calling them cowards, but in private they demanded reports. They wanted to know, what is Earth building? What is Earth awakening? One spy ship managed to breach Sol's borders. What it saw made its crew flee in terror. In the shadow of the moon, dozens of massive hangar doors had opened, revealing black shapes hidden for centuries. They were ships, but not like any in service today. Their hulls were thicker, their engines brighter, their weapons glowing with strange power. Ancient, yes, but alive. The spy ship barely escaped. Its report reached its masters, and the words spread like fire. Earth is waking its war machines. Still, Earth said nothing. Weeks passed. Alien fleets gathered at Sol's borders, watching, waiting. The Galactic Council debated in whispers whether to force Earth to stand down. Some said humanity should be protected, others argued they were too dangerous. But Earth did not answer. Instead, the only sign of life was the growing hum of power across their system. Satellites showed strange energy fields wrapping around Mars. The asteroid shipyards pulsed with new lights. Even Jupiter's orbit crackled with weapon stations never before seen. The galaxy had expected humans to beg. Instead, humans prepared. On the 40th day after the massacre, the silence broke again. This time the broadcast was shorter. A single sentence, spoken in a voice that shook with fury. To those who come for us, bring your fleets. We are ready. And then, nothing more. The galaxy trembled. The invaders who had destroyed Nova Terra laughed no longer. They realized too late what had been unleashed. Humanity, once quiet and divided, now stood united with a single purpose: revenge. And in that unity, the galaxy saw something it had feared for centuries but never believed it would face again. A predator. Not the humans of trade and science. Not the humans who sent diplomats to the council. But the humans of old, the ones who had torn themselves apart in ancient wars, who had forged weapons so powerful they had been buried in shame. The humans who would fight until nothing remained. And so the choice became clear. The galaxy could prepare for the storm. Or it could wait for Earth to unleash it. Because Earth had spoken. And Earth's silence was over. No more mercy. The galaxy thought they knew human ships. They had seen the patrol craft that guarded colonies. They had fought against Earth's small fleets before. Fragile vessels, lightly armed, no match for the massive warships of alien empires. But they had never seen what Earth had hidden. It began beneath the oceans. Far below the waves of the Atlantic, doors sealed for 500 years trembled. Rust fell away as ancient machines stirred. Lights long thought dead flickered alive. The ocean floor shook as the first of the buried warships rose. They were old. Older than the Galactic Council itself. They were relics from a time when Earth had fought itself, when nations had battled for dominance in the last global wars. These ships had been locked away after peace was forged, declared too dangerous to ever fly again. But now, humanity no longer cared about peace. The massacre had changed everything. On the moon, another secret stirred. Beneath the gray dust, hangar doors opened like great jaws. Black silhouettes emerged into space. Massive carriers, bristling with weapons not seen for centuries. Their engines glowed with raw power, their hulls carved with ancient warnings: do not unseal. One by one, they came alive. In the asteroid belt, workers who had once mined for or now stood aside as whole stations shifted and unfolded. Hidden within were shipyards designed in another age, forgotten by the galaxy. Now, for the first time in centuries, they were awake. Sparks flew. Forges burned. Weapons of forbidden design rolled out into the void. And still Earth said nothing. The first alien spies who saw this did not believe their own eyes. They watched from cloaked ships, recording the awakening. When the reports reached their masters, disbelief turned to panic. One alien commander read the report aloud, his voice shaking. The humans, they are bringing back the war machines. The ones from the old wars. The ones we thought were myths. His advisors laughed nervously. But when the first grainy images arrived, images of ships longer than cities, glowing with energy storms, they stopped laughing. The galaxy had always mocked humans as fragile. But now, fear spread. Inside Earth's command chambers, the leaders stood in silence as the old fleet awoke. Generals saluted. Engineers cheered. But the decision weighed heavy. Once these machines were unleashed, there would be no going back. Are we ready for this? One leader whispered. The commander of the fleet answered with steel in his eyes. We are not ready. But we will never be ready. And still, we must do it. For Nova Terra. For every human life they took. The first test came at Mars. A group of alien raiders, confident that humans were bluffing, crossed into the system to strike at Earth's shipyards. Their fleet was small, but deadly. They expected little resistance. What they found waiting shattered their courage. From the shadow of Mars rose a ship unlike any they had ever seen. It was not sleek like their own warships. It was brutal, forged of steel and fury. Its cannons glowed red. Its engines roared with thunder. The aliens opened fire. Their beams struck the human ship, only to shatter against shields no one thought humans possessed. Then the ship answered. One blast. One terrible shot. It cut through 3 alien ships at once. Their hulls melted like wax. Their crews turned to ash in an instant. The raiders screamed for retreat, but there was no escape. The war machine hunted them, tearing them apart piece by piece. No survivors. No mercy. The galaxy heard about it within hours. Fear grew. Alien worlds buzzed with whispers. The humans are waking weapons from the old age. Weapons older than our council. Weapons that should have stayed buried. The Galactic Council tried to calm the panic, but they had no answers. Their own fleets were strong, yes. But could they stand against ships designed only for destruction, ships built with technology outlawed by every race? Some remembered old records. Ancient wars, long before the Council's power. Battles where human ships had burned half the Earth in fire. Weapons so dangerous that even humans had sworn never to use them again. And now, those weapons were returning. But the most terrifying thing was not the ships themselves. It was humanity's silence. The aliens begged for answers, demanded communication, even sent pleas for negotiations. But Earth gave no reply. The only message remained the same. No more mercy. In the deep chambers beneath Earth, the leaders gathered again. Before them, holograms of the awakened fleet shimmered. Hundreds of ships. Carriers, destroyers, dreadnoughts, and more, some so massive they had to orbit alone. Each ship was a weapon of war, each one carrying fire enough to destroy entire fleets. One leader looked upon them and whispered, "If we unleash this, we may destroy not only our enemies, but ourselves." But the commander only said, "The massacre left us no choice. They wanted our submission. Instead, they will see our vengeance." And so the order was given. The fleet would not stay hidden. The fleet would rise. Alien empires now faced a decision. Would they join the invaders to crush humanity before the storm broke? Or would they step back, waiting, hoping Earth's fury would not turn toward them? The Council split. Half demanded sanctions against humanity, declaring them a threat to all life. The other half begged for peace, too afraid to provoke them. The galaxy was divided. But one thing united them all: fear. And still, Earth prepared. The skies above Sol glowed with the light of awakened engines. Old war machines drifted into formation, black silhouettes blotting out the stars. The galaxy had taken Nova Terra. But humanity was about to take everything else. Because the war machines of Earth had returned. And with them came the promise humanity had already spoken. No more mercy. The invaders thought Sol System would be easy prey. They had destroyed Nova Terra in one night. They had silenced other human colonies without effort. To them, humanity was nothing more than scattered insects waiting to be crushed. So when their vanguard fleet crossed into Sol's outer edge, the aliens expected another slaughter. They were wrong. The alien fleet appeared near the orbit of Jupiter, 40 ships strong, each one built for war. Their commanders laughed as they saw the empty space before them. No human defenders. No fleets waiting. Only the gas giant, silent and vast. "Another weak colony," one captain sneered. "Earth hides like a frightened child." But then the sensors lit up. Something stirred within Jupiter's shadow. At first, the aliens thought it was a storm. Clouds shifting unnaturally, shadows moving too fast. But then the storm broke apart, and the truth revealed itself. Dozens of massive human warships slid out of hiding. Their black hulls gleamed in the pale light. Their cannons glowed red, humming with power. The aliens froze. These were not the fragile ships they had faced before. These were the awakened machines, dreadnoughts of steel and fury, built not for defense but for one purpose: annihilation. The alien commander barked orders. Open fire. Destroy them before they form ranks. Blue beams lanced across space, striking the human fleet. Explosions lit the void, but when the light cleared, the human ships still stood. Their shields flared, then settled, absorbing the fire. And then came the answer. The human fleet unleashed its guns. Red light tore across the dark. One blast ripped through an alien cruiser, cutting it in half. Another barrage slammed into the enemy flagship, turning it into burning wreckage. In seconds, 3 alien ships were gone. The aliens panicked. "This cannot be," one shouted. "Humans cannot fight like this." But they could. And they did. What the aliens had not known was that Jupiter itself had been turned into a weapon. Hidden among its moons, humanity had built weapons platforms, armed stations, and minefields waiting to be triggered. As the alien fleet pressed forward, the trap was sprung. Explosions rippled across the battlefield. Moons flared with hidden guns, hurling spears of plasma into the enemy ranks. Mines detonated, tearing apart smaller craft. The aliens realized too late that they had not invaded Sol, they had walked into a cage. The humans closed the jaws. The battle lasted less than an hour. One by one, alien ships were torn apart. Some tried to flee, but human warships hunted them down with ruthless precision. Cannons burned holes through their engines, leaving them adrift before finishing the kill. There were no survivors. No mercy. At the battle's end, wreckage drifted across Jupiter's orbit. Thousands of alien bodies floated in the void, frozen in silence. The human fleet moved through them like predators surveying their kill. The commander of the human fleet sent a single transmission, broadcast openly for all to hear. "This is the price of massacre. You burned Nova Terra. We burn you. To every fleet that dares enter Sol, there will be no survivors. No more mercy." The battle's recording spread faster than fire. Other species watched the footage in silence. They saw alien ships explode under human guns, saw fleets of predators slaughtered like prey. Whispers filled the stars. The humans have awakened. The Galactic Council was thrown into chaos. Some demanded Earth be punished before their fury spread. Others whispered that perhaps it was safer to let them have their vengeance. But deep down, every leader felt the same cold truth. Humanity had become something the galaxy had not seen in centuries. A storm. Back on Earth, the leaders stood before the battle report. They had won, but this was only the beginning. The commander who had led the counterstrike spoke firmly. They thought Sol was weak. Now they know better. But this will not stop them. More fleets will come. Stronger ones. They will come with everything they have. Then we meet them, another leader replied. Everywhere. Not just here. We take the war to them. The decision was made. Humanity would not hide behind Sol's defenses. Humanity would not wait for the enemy to strike again. The counterstrike at Jupiter was only the first blow. The true war was about to begin. The wreckage of the alien fleet still drifted in silence when the humans activated their engines. The awakened warships turned, forming new formations. Their cannons were still hot. Their shields still flared with energy. One by one, the ships aligned with hyperspace lanes. They were not staying home. They were going out. The galaxy had massacred Nova Terra. The galaxy had mocked Earth's silence. But now, Earth's vengeance had begun. And the message was clear. No more mercy. The Galactic Council Chamber was built to be a place of order. Its walls were polished silver, its seats filled with delegates from 100 species, its air thick with the weight of decisions that shaped entire civilizations. For centuries, it had been a place of debate, of compromise, of law. But now it was filled with fear. The battle at Jupiter had been seen by every world. What should have been the easy destruction of humanity had turned into a slaughter of the invaders. Alien ships burned in silence, their wreckage scattered across Sol like ashes. And the humans had given no quarter, offered no mercy. They had hunted every survivor, destroying them to the last. The delegates whispered among themselves. Some hissed in fear, others raised their voices in anger, but beneath every word was the same truth. Humanity was no longer the weak race they once mocked. They had awakened something older, something dangerous. One delegate struck the table with a claw, his voice trembling with fury. We should destroy them now, before they spread beyond Sol. If we wait, their weapons will spread to every star. Another rose in answer, her voice calm but shaken. And how will you destroy them? Did you not see the recordings? 40 ships, armed with the best our kind can make, torn apart in less than an hour. If you bring war to Earth now, it will not be Sol that burns, it will be us. The chamber erupted in noise. Accusations flew, threats were made, but no answers came. In the shadows of the chamber, an older delegate, scarred from battles centuries past, spoke words that chilled the room. You have forgotten who they are. The humans were not born in peace. Their history is written in blood. In endless war against themselves. We thought we had broken their will, forced them into quiet by giving them seats here. But the massacre of Nova Terra has woken their true nature. You do not understand what you face. None of you do. They will not stop. The chamber fell into silence. The council tried to vote. Some pushed for sanctions against Earth, to cut off trade, to isolate them. Others demanded fleets be sent at once, to crush humanity before their power spread further. But for every voice of aggression, another voice of fear answered. No one wanted to be the first to stand against humanity. Not after what they had seen. Meanwhile, outside the chamber, rumors spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, alien civilians watched the recordings of Jupiter's battle. Some wept in terror, others cheered quietly, whispering that perhaps humanity would bring balance, perhaps the predators who had long ruled the stars would finally know fear. In secret, small races sent envoys toward Earth, not to threaten, but to beg. They begged for alliance, for protection, for mercy. But humanity answered none of them. Their silence was worse than any word. Within Sol, the preparations continued. The shipyards glowed brighter each day. The awakened war machines formed fleets, their cannons tested, their shields shimmering. Every system that once thought humanity was too weak now watched and waited, knowing the storm was only beginning. The invaders who had destroyed Nova Terra sent a message of their own, a challenge across the stars. You are few. We are many. You cannot fight us all. Submit now, and we will spare your home. The message was broadcast across every channel, a show of strength. But the galaxy noticed something strange. Earth did not reply. They did not answer the threat, they did not argue, they did not beg. They simply remained silent, and their silence was more terrifying than words. In the council chamber, one delegate whispered what everyone feared to speak aloud. Their silence is not weakness. It is the silence of a predator before it strikes. The council fractured. Some empires began to secretly prepare for war against Earth. Others began to quietly withdraw, pulling their fleets back to protect their own worlds. Alliances cracked. Promises broke. The massacre at Nova Terra had shaken the stars, but Jupiter had shattered trust in the council itself. Behind closed doors, the council's leaders begged one another for answers. What weapons did Earth truly possess? How many war machines had they hidden? Could they really stand against the combined fleets of the galaxy? No one knew. And that ignorance was the most dangerous weapon of all. The galaxy trembled in the dark. And in the heart of Sol, the humans prepared their next move. The galaxy had hoped Earth would remain silent forever. That humanity would never step beyond Sol again. But silence was never peace, it was only waiting. The waiting ended when the human fleets left their home. The first reports came from the edge of the Dravic Empire. A patrol station, fully armed and shielded, simply vanished. No distress call, no warning, only silence. When scouts arrived, they found wreckage drifting like broken bones. Not a single human ship had been seen entering or leaving, yet the evidence was clear: Earth's fleet had arrived. Then came the second strike. A trade hub, orbiting a gas giant, was reduced to fire. Thousands of ships, freighters, merchants, escorts, burned. The survivors whispered that the humans had appeared in impossible numbers, striking from shadows, overwhelming everything in their path. The galaxy had grown used to human weakness, but what they saw now was not weakness. It was fury. The human fleets did not conquer. They did not occupy. They destroyed. Every world connected to the massacre of Nova Terra was marked. Outposts, shipyards, mining stations, all erased. Human warships moved like shadows, striking and vanishing before any fleet could respond. When defenders gathered, the humans struck from another direction, as if they already knew every move their enemies would make. In the Galactic Council chambers, panic turned to open chaos. Messages arrived one after another: another station lost, another fleet destroyed, another empire begging for help. The Council had no answers. Every attempt to coordinate resistance failed. No one trusted one another, not anymore. They feared betrayal more than they feared humanity. The Dravic Empire, who had led the attack on Nova Terra, called for a holy war against Earth. They promised their people that humans were fragile, that victory was certain. They gathered 200 ships and launched them toward Sol, determined to crush the enemy in their home. But when they reached the edge of the system, they found the wrecks of their own forward fleets, drifting lifeless in space. Human warships appeared in formation, hundreds strong. The Dravic commander broadcast a challenge, swearing vengeance for his fallen. His voice echoed across the stars, recorded and watched by billions. What followed was destruction so swift that even the recordings seemed unreal. The human fleet moved with precision like a single living thing. Their weapons cut through shields, their cannons fired beams that split ships in half. The Dravic fought with desperation, but every move they made was countered, every tactic broken. In less than an hour, 200 ships became wreckage. The last transmission caught by the galaxy was the Dravic commander's voice breaking into a whisper: "They are monsters." The video spread faster than light. Billions watched. Entire species fell into despair. If the mighty Dravic fleets could not stand against Earth, what chance did anyone else have? But some species began to whisper differently. They spoke in hidden rooms, in hushed voices. Maybe the humans are not monsters. Maybe they are justice. For many small races who had suffered under the larger empires, the rise of humanity felt like a storm that might finally break their chains. The humans, however, gave no speeches, no alliances, no mercy. Their fleets struck again and again, spreading fire across the stars. Planets that had once celebrated Nova Terra's destruction now fell into silence, their skies filled with human warships. Some surrendered, offering tribute. The humans ignored them. Their war was not about tribute. It was vengeance. One delegate of the council, desperate and trembling, cried out during a session, "We must unite. If we do not, there will be nothing left but ashes." But the chamber only roared with anger. No one trusted the others. Old rivalries resurfaced. Instead of unity, the council fell deeper into division. Meanwhile, humanity grew bolder. Fleets were sighted further and further from Sol. Human war machines spread into systems thought unreachable. And behind them came silence. No colonies, no survivors, only ruins. In the dark, some of the council's spies learned something terrifying. The humans were not building fleets. They were waking them. Ancient ships, hidden deep within Sol, war machines from a forgotten age, were rising from the dark. No one knew how many there were, but the numbers were already beyond anything the Council could match. Still, the invaders who had destroyed Nova Terra refused to admit defeat. They sent message after message, promising to bring their full armadas against Earth. They told the galaxy they would drown humanity in fire, that no world could stand against their combined strength. But every time they spoke, their words were weaker, their confidence broken. Because every world could see the truth. Humanity was no longer defending. Humanity was hunting. The galaxy held its breath as the war spread. Entire trade routes collapsed, empires pulled their fleets inward, and fear consumed every star. Some begged for Earth to stop. Some prayed for the humans to burn. But all knew one truth: the storm was not over. It was only beginning. And in the silence of their command halls, the human leaders gave only one order: no more mercy. The galaxy had never seen such a gathering of war. 4 weeks, the largest empire of the stars, the Zoltrax Dominion, prepared their final answer to Earth's fury. The Dominion had ruled for 10,000 years, crushing hundreds of species, enslaving millions, and wiping away any resistance. To them, humanity was nothing but an upstart predator. Dangerous, yes, but still prey to be broken. From their homeworld's orbit, the Dominion fleet stretched farther than the eye could see. Over 5,000 warships, each the pride of their empire, armed with weapons that had shattered worlds before humans even left Sol. Their admirals swore before the galaxy: Earth would burn. Humanity would be erased. And yet, beneath their bold words, fear gnawed at them. The destruction of Nova Terra had begun this war, but every battle since had stripped the galaxy of illusions. Human fleets had crushed the Dravik, shattered countless outposts, and left burning wrecks across entire sectors. The Dominion's commanders whispered in private, their voices uncertain: could humans truly stand against 5,000 ships? The galaxy turned its eyes to the gathering storm. Billions of people from every species tuned their networks to the live feeds. This was not just a war. It was Judgment Day. The Dominion launched their armada into the void, spreading across the stars like a tide of steel. Their formation was flawless, their numbers overwhelming. Even before the first engagement, they sent messages across the galaxy: we will drown humanity in our fire. But when the battle began, everything changed. The Dominion armada entered a system on the edge of Sol, expecting ambush, expecting resistance. Instead, they found silence. Planets burned already. Stations were ruins. No humans appeared. 4 hours, they advanced deeper, unease growing. Where was the enemy? Where were the humans? Then the trap was sprung. Human fleets emerged not from in front, but from behind. Hundreds of ships decloaked from the shadows of moons and gas giants. They struck the Dominion's supply ships first, tearing apart the lifelines of the massive fleet. Ammunition barges exploded. Fuel carriers burned. In moments, the Dominion's armada felt its own weight turn into chains. Panic spread. Admirals shouted orders, but confusion ruled the comms. As they tried to turn, more human fleets arrived, cutting into their flanks with terrifying precision. It was as if the humans knew every path the Dominion would take, every formation they would attempt. The battle became chaos. Human ships moved like wolves, striking and fading, tearing apart their prey piece by piece. Dominion warships fired blindly into the dark, their great cannons destroying only empty space. And with every volley, more of their numbers fell. Billions watched live as the impossible unfolded. 5,000 ships, the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever assembled, was being dismantled before their eyes. Dominion commanders screamed that it was impossible, that no species could fight like this. Yet the evidence filled every screen. The humans were not fighting like prey. They were fighting like predators who had been waiting for centuries. The Dominion admirals tried to rally their forces for one final charge. Thousands of ships turned toward the human fleet at the center of the system, unleashing every weapon they had. The void itself lit up with fire, stars drowned in the glow of war. But when the light cleared, the humans were still there. Their shields had held. Their formation was unbroken. Then the humans answered. Their counterstrike was merciless. Energy beams sliced through the Dominion's largest warships, reducing flagships to burning wrecks. Swarms of smaller human vessels darted in, planting explosives and vanishing before anyone could respond. In less than an hour, the Dominion's center collapsed. The Dominion's pride, their grand armada, was torn apart before the galaxy's eyes. Ship after ship fell silent, until only scattered survivors fled into the dark. Out of 5,000, less than 100 escaped. The Zoltrax Dominion had fallen. Their homeworld, once the jewel of the stars, now stood undefended. Human fleets approached, their weapons armed, their silence more terrifying than any threat. Billions waited for mercy, for a chance at surrender. None came. The humans descended. The skies of the Dominion homeworld burned as orbital bombardment began. Cities crumbled. Palaces shattered. The great towers of the Dominion, symbols of power for 10,000 years, fell to dust in hours. No plea was answered. No white flag was accepted. Humanity gave only one reply, the same reply it had given since Nova Terra's destruction. No more mercy. The galaxy watched in silence as the Dominion's homeworld turned to ash. The mightiest empire in history was gone, erased in days. For the first time in millennia, the balance of power shifted. Some cheered in secret. Others trembled in fear. But all understood the same truth: if the greatest giant could fall, no one was safe. And across the stars, as survivors whispered of the ruin, a new question spread like fire. What would humanity do next? The galaxy was silent. The Zoltrax Dominion, the empire that had ruled for 10,000 years, was gone. Their fleets shattered, their homeworld turned to ash, their people scattered. What had once been unthinkable had become reality. Humanity had done what no other species dared to try. But victory did not bring peace. Instead, fear spread faster than any fire. Entire civilizations trembled. On distant worlds, leaders argued through sleepless nights. Should they resist? Should they surrender? Or should they pray that Earth would not notice them at all? The Galactic Council met in secret chambers, far from cameras, far from public eyes. Every delegate spoke in hushed tones, but their words carried terror. If humanity could destroy the Dominion, then they can destroy us all, one counselor whispered. Another slammed his fist. They are predators. They must be stopped before it is too late. But no one had an answer. No one had a plan. Because deep down, they all knew the truth. If Earth declared war, there would be no defense. And then, the humans spoke. 4 weeks after the Dominion's fall, Earth had been silent. No messages. No broadcasts. No signs of what they would do next. Billions across the stars held their breath. And then, one day the transmission came. Every screen flickered. Every channel shifted. No matter the planet, no matter the station, the same image appeared, a human figure, standing in shadow, with only 2 words beneath them. No mercy. The galaxy froze. Then the message began. You watched them slaughter our people. You watched Nova Terra burn. You said nothing. You did nothing. You called yourselves a council, a protector of peace. But you were cowards. While our children screamed, you turned away. And so we learned a lesson. Mercy is wasted on the weak. The voice was calm, steady, and cold. You saw what happened to the Dominion. They thought they were untouchable. They thought we would forgive. And now, they are ash. Their name is nothing. Their empire is dust. This is what awaits any who raise a hand against us. The galaxy held its breath. Entire planets listened in silence, afraid even to blink. But the voice did not end there. We will not seek conquest. We will not claim your worlds. But make no mistake. If you threaten us again, if you harm a single human life, we will come. And when we come, there will be no council, no treaty, no surrender. Only fire. The screen went dark. That was all. No more words. No more warnings. Just silence. But those two words, no mercy, burned themselves into every mind. On distant worlds, leaders gathered armies, only to disband them in fear. Admirals rewrote their strategies, only to admit they were useless. The galaxy's greatest generals stared at the wreckage of the Dominion and knew they could never stand against Earth. Some tried to rally resistance in secret. They spoke of uniting, of fighting together before humanity grew stronger. But whispers spread, chilling every effort. What if the humans already know? What if they are listening right now? Others bent the knee in silence. Entire systems began sending quiet gifts to Earth, supplies, resources, technology, as if tribute might buy safety. No demand had been made, yet the offerings flowed. And through it all, humanity said nothing. They did not answer. They did not threaten further. They simply prepared. Factories burned with new energy. Shipyards stretched farther and faster than ever before. New fleets rose, their shadows falling long across the stars. The galaxy watched in dread as humanity grew stronger with every passing day. But on Earth, the truth was darker still. The leaders of humanity knew the war was not finished. Nova Terra had been destroyed, yes. The Dominion had paid, yes. But vengeance was never enough. The galaxy had shown its true face: cowardice, betrayal, silence. And humanity had made its choice. There would be no more trust. No more treaties. And no more mercy. On the frontier, scouts reported strange movements, human ships mapping new systems, building secret bases. Colonists whispered of weapons never before seen, tested in the dark between stars. Rumors spread of an even greater fleet, hidden beyond the edge of known space, waiting for the order to strike. The galaxy trembled. Because they all knew, Earth had spoken its final warning. And one day, when the stars burned again, no one would be spared. And so the story of Nova Terra's massacre ended not with peace, not with justice, but with fear. A new age had begun, and its name was written in fire. An age where the galaxy would never again ask what humanity would do. Because the answer was already clear. No more mercy.